The doorbell debacle. My phone pinged with the kind of urgency only a suburban security app can muster. The screen glowed with a stark notification, "Motion detected at your front door." Normally, this would spark mild curiosity, a delivery guy with a package, maybe a kid chasing a stray ball, or, if luck was on my side, a Girl Scout troop hawking Thin Mints. But at 10:37 a.m., on a Tuesday, a sinking feeling hit me, the kind you get when you know trouble's brewing. This wasn't a delivery. It was Margaret. I leaned back in my creaky office chair, the unofficial throne of my modest graphic design empire, where I crafted logos and branding guides for clients who thought bold font was a personality trait. On my monitor, a half-finished design for an organic pet treat company mocked me with its calming earth tones, a stark contrast to the storm I knew was gathering outside. With a sigh heavy enough to sum up every minor life regret, I tapped the notification. The doorbell camera's live feed flared to life, and there she was, Margaret Thompson, in glorious, fisheye lens distortion. Her face, squashed by the wide angle, looked like an overripe tomato ready to burst. Her auburn bob was a fortress of hairspray, her teal cardigan buttoned to the chin, and her finger jabbed at my doorbell like she was trying to drill through it. "James, I know you're home." Her voice crackled through my phone, sharp as a tack. "This camera is an invasion of my privacy." I hit the microphone icon, bracing myself. "Morning, Margaret," I said, keeping my tone as smooth as a corporate retreat. "Everything all right?" "All right," she screeched, leaning so close her nose filled the frame like a horror movie close-up. "This thing is pointed at my house, recording my every move. It's surveillance. It's illegal." I took a slow sip of coffee, letting her stew. "Margaret, it's a doorbell camera. It points at my porch. It catches the street, sure, and maybe the front of your house. That's just how angles work. The only thing I've seen lately is your cat, Whiskers, giving my lawn the stink eye." "Wrong move. Don't you dare bring Whiskers into this," she snapped. "This is about my right to not be spied on. I feel unsafe, James. This is causing me psychological distress." Psychological distress. The battle cry of the terminally bored. I'd installed the camera 2 months ago after a string of package thefts in the neighborhood. It was for security, plain and simple. But for Margaret, anything that didn't bow to her exacting standards, me slightly faded porch paint. My choice of azaleas over peonies was a personal affront. The camera was just her latest crusade in a one-woman war against a world that refused to obey her. "I'm sorry you feel that way," I said, channeling every customer service script I'd ever heard. "But it's standard. Half the street has one." "Not pointed at me," she insisted, as if I'd rigged a CIA drone to her mailbox. "Take it down, or you'll hear from the Homeowners Association." With a final jab at the lens, she spun on her heel and marched back to her pristine colonial across the street. The feed went quiet. I stared at the frozen image of her furious, distorted face. Logic told me to let it go, wait for the HOA's inevitable toothless letter, and move on. But another part of meth part that got me detention in high school for pranks ummed with reckless energy. Arguing with Margaret was like teaching a dog to do taxes, futile and painful. No, I needed to fight her brand of chaos with my own. I opened the video, paused it at peak rage face, and sent it to my design tablet. A few quick strokes with my stylus, and I'd turned her pointing finger into a cartoonish claw, her eyes into fiery slits, her bob into a swirling tornado. It was crude, but it sparked an idea, gloriously petty one. She wanted to be the star of my porch? Fine. I'd make her a masterpiece. That evening, I abandoned the pet treat logo and dove into the gig economy's Wild West, hunting for an artist. A portrait painter felt too dignified. Margaret might take it as flattery. A photographer was too literal. This called for absurdity. Then I found it, the caricature section of a local freelance site. It was a gallery of exaggerated noses, chins like battleships, and heads the size of pumpkins. Perfect. I scrolled until I landed on Victor, the sketch sultan. His portfolio was a gleeful roast of human quirks, tourists with sunburns, kids with braces like train tracks, a woman whose perm looked like a flock of angry pigeons. He was my guy. I fired off an email, fueled by caffeine and spite. Subject: Artistic Neighborhood Watch Opportunity. Dear Victor, I'm seeking a caricature artist for a unique project. The job: Set up on my front porch and sketch anyone who approaches delivery drivers, mail carriers, door-to-door salespeople, and especially nosy neighbors with a knack for complaints. Expect a high volume of the latter. You'll need a sketch pad, charcoal, and a sense of humor. Discretion is not required. This is performance art. Payment is negotiable, refreshments provided. If this sounds like your kind of chaos, let's talk. Sincerely, James Harper. I hit send, heart racing. This was either genius or lunacy. An hour later, my phone rang. Is this James, patron of bizarre gigs? A cheerful voice asked. Victor, I presume? The sketch sultan himself, he said, grinning through the phone. Your email's a masterpiece. I've drawn some weird stuff once, turned a D&D group into the Jersey Shore cast, but this is next level. I'm in. You're not worried I'm some nutcase? Nah, you're paying me to sit on your porch, sip lemonade, and roast people. I'm calling that a dream job. We settled on a rate surprisingly reasonable for artistic warfare, and he promised to start the next morning. I set up a wicker chair, a side table, and a cooler stocked with lemonade and iced tea. Margaret wanted to fight. She just didn't know the rules had changed. At 8:59 a.m., a battered hatchback rolled up, covered in stickers and optimism. Out stepped Victor, lanky, with a messy bun, ripped jeans, and a paint-splattered tee. He lugged a portfolio case and a backpack, looking like he'd teleported from an art school cafe to my cul-de-sac. Welcome to the battlefield, I said, gesturing to the chair. It's quiet now, but give it till 10:30. Victor settled in, arranging his charcoal sticks like a general prepping for war. I retreated to my office, texting. All systems go. The hawk is in the nest. He replied, Roger that. Loving the raspberry lemonade. For an hour, it was calm. Victor sketched a squirrel, capturing its twitchy paranoia in a few lines. Then, at 10:15, the first subject arrived, a FedEx driver, jogging up with a package. He froze when he saw Victor. Oh, what's this? You're the star, Victor said, charcoal flying. James loves art and logistics. In 2 minutes, Victor unveiled a sketch of him as a caped crusader, hurling the package like a javelin. The guy snapped a photo, grinning, and practically skipped back to his truck. Then my internal Margaret alarm blared. There she was, emerging in a lime green tracksuit, ostensibly checking her mailbox, but beelining for my lawn. Red alert. Bogey inbound, I texted Victor. He replied, the Sultan is ready. Margaret stopped at my grass, arms crossed, radiating fury. What is this? She demanded, eyeing Victor like he was running a casino. This is a neighborhood, not a carnival. Victor didn't flinch. Just capturing the local vibe, ma'am. The lights great really highlights that jawline. Hold that pose. Margaret's mouth flapped, speechless, a rare event. Victor sketched with ruthless focus, then held up his work. It was savage. Her bob a swirling vortex, her eyes laser-shooting slits, her finger a monstrous claw. Circling her head were the words Bylaw 7.2b, curb appeal, distress. Her face went from pale to scarlet. She made a strangled noise, spun, and fled to her house. I laughed so hard I nearly fell out of my chair. Victor gave a thumbs up. Round 1, ours. The victory demanded an audience. I bought a 4x3-foot corkboard and mounted it by my door, pinning up Victor's sketches. Heroic FedEx and Margaret's wrath. A sign read, The Porch Gallery, a celebration of cul-de-sac life. To keep the art flowing, I hired a landscaping crew to overhaul my shabby yard, ensuring a parade of new subjects. Enter Hank, a bear of a man from Greenscape, who roared with laughter when I explained the setup. You hired an artist to troll your neighbor? I'm giving you a discount just to see this play out. The HOA struck back with a letter citing bylaws about non-permanent structures and commercial activity. I responded with a 3-page masterpiece on custom letterhead featuring a subtle caricature of the HOA president, Gerald. I argued the gallery was a temporary community art project, citing free speech and art critics. I invited them to the next installation. Game on. Margaret escalated, calling the cops for artistic harassment. Officers Bailey and Torres arrived, looking like they'd rather be anywhere else. Victor handed them a sketch of the landscaping crew as a gritty war squad. They cracked up, declared no laws broken, and Bailey whispered, Any chance your guy does cop sketches? We've got a retirement party. Margaret, watching from her blinds, slammed her door in defeat. The yard became a hub. Hank's Cruetti the phone-addicted digger, Luis the zen raker, and Tony the flexing showboat provided endless material. Victor's gallery grew, Eddie's TikTok trance, Luis's rake nirvana, Tony's shovel swagger. The crew loved it, morale sky high. Margaret's petty sabotage sprinkler attacks, acorn piles only fueled more art, like the venomous sprinkler and the Watcher, a chilling sketch of her peeking through curtains. The feud went viral when a neighbor, Susan, posted about the gallery on Nextdoor. Comments exploded, splitting into Team Margaret, HOA loyalists whining about decency, and Team James, everyone else, calling it the neighborhood's best entertainment. Margaret's all-caps rants backfired, turning her into a meme. I stayed quiet, letting the community fight for me, posting only a sketch of our mailman dodging a chihuahua. Neither rain nor yip. The HOA called a hearing, a suburban showdown. I prepared like it was the Oscars, printing Victor's sketches on foam core and crafting a PowerPoint, the power of porch art. At the packed community center, Gerald read Margaret's complaints. She rambled about neighborhood character. I countered with slides of bylaws, sketches, and next-door praise, arguing for creativity over conformity. The crowd roared. The vote crushed Margaret's motion. Her reign was over. Afterward, she tried rallying allies but was met with pitying smiles. Defeated, she retreated. Days later, I saw her pulling imaginary weeds, looking lost. I just wanted to keep things nice, she said, voice faint. For a moment, I saw her a lonely woman clinging to rules for purpose. The standards are fine, Margaret, I said gently. We just needed a little joy. She nodded, silent, and vanished inside. Her blinds stayed closed. The yard finished as a showpiece lush lawn, stone paths, vibrant flowers. We threw a block party, an art gala, with a charity auction. Neighbors ate, laughed, and bid on Victor's sketches. Officers Bailey and Torres fought over the mailman piece. Hank bought his crew's portrait. I kept Margaret's sketch privateer, started it all. Victor unveiled a final piece. The instigator, me in my chair, a doorbell camera beam lighting up the cul-de-sac. I hung it in my office. That night, Susan left brownies on my porch with a thank you note. Good fences don't make good neighbors. A cranky neighbor, a bold artist, and a wildly bad idea do. What do you think? Did I go too far, or was Margaret's tyranny worth fighting? Have you faced a neighbor like her, or felt the sting of petty injustice? Share your thoughts below, especially on standing up to bullies or navigating unfair rules. Let's hear your take.